Alright, so we're going to play Spot the Difference because what happened yesterday, my tablet ran out of memory or space, so it kind of cut the video out after about 16 minutes. And I don't know how long I went on before I realized that happened, before I stopped recording. So I deleted a few things off of my tablet hoping to make some more room, and it gave me a little bit of room, but it wasn't enough to continue the rest of the reading. So that's why you see some of the things are turned over. I know I uploaded the first part of it and only the first two cards are turned over, but I'm going to go back and explain what I see here. So it is the next day. I'm sorry about that. But I wanted to spend some time to really think about what these cards mean together, because I feel like, as I rewatched the video that I did yesterday, I see that I really struggled to get really in depth with each card. I really just looked at what was on the surface, and I kind of just regurgitated what I remember reading about the meanings of these cards. And I'm actually kind of not happy with the way that it came out. So I'm kind of going to go back a little bit. I'm going to talk about these two cards again because I kind of see what they're really supposed to mean, as opposed to just, like I said, what was on the surface. So I also see yesterday how I was doing it. I really wasn't comparing it. Well, not comparing it, but I really wasn't bringing you into it at all. So, like I had said, when I read cards for myself, I feel like I try to put onto the cards, and I didn't want to do that, so I was kind of excluding you from the reading entirely, which I don't think was very good. But this is my starting point, so live and learn. So I decided to upload that video anyway, especially for myself for future reference, so I could see how far I've come, because I do want to keep reading, but I have to get better at it. So so that's a little bit about what happened. I did move a couple of things over here. Like I said, we're gonna play Spot the Difference. Just kidding, actually. So I moved my cauldron because I'm not going to use it, so I lit a candle instead, and I just moved a couple of my my crystals around. So you get bonus points if you can name any of these crystals. By the way, I don't know if you can really see them very well. But anyways, so I guess that was a bit of a ramble. That's one thing that I don't want to be doing too much, is rambling. So we're going to start back at the beginning. So again, the heart of the matter is the Ten of Wands, oppression. And I must admit, before I pressed record again tonight, I did use one of my lifelines, and I looked in this book and this book. I looked in this one because it compares the deck that I have with the other most popular deck. So it kind of gave me a bit of insight. And it also just reminds me how much more I have to learn with cards like this that are what are called the suits. So for example, the Ten of Wands, wands, what do they mean? So same thing with cups and swords, and discs. So, but again, I'm sorry, I feel like I'm going all over the place, but we're just going to wing it. All right. So we're going to see how it goes, because this is my last night to do this, and I want to get it done for you. So, and now my throat's getting dry. I'm sorry. All right. So the Ten of Wands. One thing I didn't notice in the picture is kind of how the fire. Let's see, back here is how the books describe it. Is it's behind these bars, which are also the wands. So basically almost like imprisonment. But I want to say, when I see this card, I don't really see it as a completely positive card, but I don't see it really as a negative card either. I kind of see it as neutral, if that makes sense, even though the word is oppression on it. But now I'm going to start to incorporate you more into this reading. So let me see, I'm going to put this down here. So when I see this card and I relate it to you, you tell me a little bit about yourself. So you tell me some of the struggles that you have. So I think that's what's at the heart of the matter. I'm not going to go into too much detail on video right now about what you've told me, but you know what I'm talking about. So Yeah, so I think that might be what this is starting to touch upon. And then the second card, what crosses the heart of the matter, is the Four of Discs. And like I said, this card to me really represents like stability, but it also represents boundaries. So I think this, in addition to your inner fire, basically, is I guess what you could probably relate this to. It just kind of tries to keep it, I don't know if it's like under wraps or in a box even. This is a square shape, so maybe it's trying to keep it in a box. But something is trying to keep it away from the light or away from other people. I guess it's just not socially normal. I think is what this is pointing to. So I hope this is making sense to you. So that's what's going on. I mean, people, they come to get tarot readings because there's something amiss in their life. So whether they're looking for guidance or just clarity, that's why they come to get tarot readings. But tarot readings are not, like, there's more than one outcome to it, okay? So, like, you are in control of your own destiny. So just because maybe I say here in the cards, no, I'm sorry, I don't see any joy in your life ever, that's not true. So you're in charge of your own destiny, okay? So you can take what you want from the cards, and you can either accept it or you can take steps to start changing it for the better, okay? So just keep that in mind. Then what we have here down on the bottom, this is your subconscious mind, and it is the Four of Swords. So again, we have another 4, and on the bottom the word says truce. My camera's mirrored, isn't it? Sorry. So it says truce. And this card, to me, this is where it differs from yesterday also. To me, it kind of means a meeting of the minds. It's a little bit of a tongue twister there, sorry. So a meeting of the minds. So if you look at the swords, the handles are a little bit different. You probably can't really see them very well, I'm sorry. It's such a YouTuber thing to say, is you can't see this very well, but here it is. So the handles are a little bit different, but to me, I see more similarities than differences. And I think that's something that's really important for you to keep in mind. So like you don't always have to agree with someone, or someone doesn't always have to agree with you, but you can still come together and live in harmony. So you can still come together and make great ideas, have great time. It doesn't have to always be clashing. Swords, like, they're weapons, but you don't always have to hurt people with them. You can defend people, right? Can't you? So like you can come to defense for yourself, defense for others with swords. So maybe that's just a little bit of insight. I don't even know. I hope this makes sense to you. And then here we have what's in your past. So like your recent past. And this is the Knight of Discs. So when he's lying down here, he's kind of looking up towards this next card, which I'm going to get back into. But his horse is looking down and away. He's not really looking at anything. But also, if you can see, the knight, he's not holding onto the horse's reins. So he has this, I don't know what this weapon is called, but he has like this baton in his one hand and his shield in his other. And he's kind of looking up almost like longingly, to me, I think, like towards the future. But his horse is looking in the opposite direction. And he doesn't have the reins in his hands. So it makes me think of how maybe he's not really like given up, but he's kind of just going with what fate is handing him, I think. His horse is his trusty steed. Like, he really depends on his horse. So he's putting a lot of faith and trust into someone who's very close to him. Someone who he actually depends on, I think. But it's just a matter of either putting the shield down or that weapon down and picking up the reins and, taking his journey into his own hands again. I think that's a good one. So like I said, he's looking up at this card here, which is the Nine of Cups, and it's called Happiness. And this card actually kind of stumped me at first, because it's a very positive card, so I almost wasn't sure how to read it. I mean, it was like so in my face yesterday when I first saw it. It's in the position of your higher thinking. So it was like so in my face. I'm like, why didn't I just say it? Like, obviously, I know how much you want to be happy. And maybe, oh, you know what? Maybe, so like I said, like the knight is looking up at this card here. Oh, that thought, it's going to leave me. Oh my God. I know you really want to be happy, but I feel like maybe you think you're not in control of that. Or maybe you just don't know how to get to it. So maybe we'll see a possible solution with the rest of these cards. I did not take a peek at any of these cards here, so I have no idea what they are. So that's going to be completely unscripted. Not that this is scripted, but I kind of had some time to think about what's going on here. So this is going to be completely improv. So, and then the next card is your future. So here we have your recent past. This is going to be like your recent future. This is the Six of Swords, and on the bottom it says science. And this is another card that I've had a couple of times, and I think it's a positive card. But sometimes it's difficult also for me to interpret, because again, we see the Six Swords here, and in the middle you have them kind of over top of the cross, the Christian cross. So, but to me, each sword represents or symbolizes maybe like someone else's idea, and I think like they're trying to maybe not like debate or something. It's almost like this card here. You see how like the points are coming together in the middle. But I think if everyone just listens to each other, then you can come to I guess maybe a scientific conclusion or a scientific idea. It doesn't have to be scientific, but something based on strong facts or maybe some research. I'm starting to ramble and I don't like it. I'm sorry. This is not the direction that I feel like I want to be going. So I might backtrack a little bit. And I'm sorry about doing that, but that's common for readers to do. And my throat is getting dry again. That happens when I talk too much. Sorry. I need a sip of water. So unprofessional of me. I am terribly sorry. So, I did look at one of the books for this card because I just wanted another perspective, and that idea has evaded me now. But I think I'm gonna go ahead, just to keep this video short. I don't want to run out of more space on my tablet. So now this card represents, oh God, what is it? See what happens? This is completely improv. This is external factors. Okay, so this has got to be like internal factors. So, ooh, we have the Sun. That's a positive card. So now this is what are called, it belongs to the major arcana, whereas all these other ones so far are the minor arcana. So these are more like your mundane, day-to-day kind of things. Major arcana are very commonly seen as, the spiritual part of your life. So maybe like a spiritual enlightenment is kind of what you see here. So if you can see, between the rays there are all of the zodiac signs. So the zodiac is something that I'm not terribly familiar with. I'm obviously familiar with my sign. I'm a Cancer. So, but there are some that I have no idea what they even mean. So the Sun, and this is actually one of the cards that I still find also difficult to read. Fun fact, when you're teaching yourself tarot cards, maybe like you get a new deck or something, if you see a card that you don't resonate with immediately, that means that it probably has a message for you or a lesson for you. So again, I feel like this is one of those like really positive cards and I'm just way overthinking and overlooking what it actually means. But I mean, you see there are two figures here down on the bottom and they look quite happy to me. So I might come back to this one. So now this one is the external factors. So there could be somebody else, maybe an unforeseen circumstance or something, but let's see what's going on. Oh my goodness, we have the Tower. I was wondering if this card was going to show up. This is a card that I don't know if I've ever gotten this card in a personal reading of mine or just a practice reading of mine. So the Tower is another major arcana. As you can see, there's a lot of chaos going on here. You have, this is the Tower right here. There's like this giant mouth and it's like breathing some kind of fire. I don't mean to scare you going through all this either. I'm just trying to describe what's going on in the picture. And then you have these figures, and the books describe them as figures of carbon. And that's the Eye of Shiva. This is a lightning strike back there. But then you have this dove, and it's holding something, I forgot what it is, but it's holding like a twig of something. So, can you see that? So that is the Tower. So obviously it's a lot of chaos going on. But this is probably like the most chaotic card in the tarot. It's even more chaotic than Death. I was expecting to see Death in this pile, actually, not the pile, the spread. But here we have the Tower. So let me refer to the little white book that comes with each deck and see what it says, because like I said, this is a card that I had a feeling it was going to show up. Alright, here's what it says. Here is purification through fire, lightning, flames, war. The open mouth at the base of the card alludes to the Hebrew attribution of peh, meaning a mouth. The eye is the eye of Shiva. The card is designed on the form of a carbon crystal. The figures falling from the tower are made of carbon. The serpent on the right is a symbol of the active will to live. The dove on the left is passive resignation to death. So, I don't know if that's very comforting to you, but what happens after the Tower is transformation. So you might have some, whether it's something that's ongoing right now, or something that's, in fact, I think it probably is something that's ongoing right now because this is in the external factors position. It's not in your near future. So it might be something that's going on right now. So it's probably a lot of, I want to say a lot of mental anguish, I think I want to say. Because here we have two cards of the Suit of Swords. And those are relating to, again, like I said last night, the intellect, communication, mental activity. So, but this is external factor. So I feel like there's something going on outside and you're trying to, something that's out of your control and you're just trying to, I also feel like you're trying to keep it in a lot. So I think you just need to find a way, a healthy way to cope with it. Whether it's maybe talking to someone or just stepping outside of your comfort zone, I think. So there's a lot to be said about this card, but I'm missing so much of it. And it sucks because it's my inexperience that's getting in my way. So, but what I was trying to say is, what after the Tower, I keep wanting to say the tarot, after the Tower, after all that chaos has passed, you will come out of it like, you know, I guess like the metaphorical butterfly coming out of a cocoon. So, so in a way, like there's a lot going on right now, but just know that in the future, you're going to come out so much better. All right. So now the next card is your hopes and fears. So let's see what's going on here. We have the Six of Cups. and that says pleasure on the bottom. So we have another cups card. We have another 6 as well. So that's pretty cool. This is also another positive card. So again, like I said, after the Tower, we have you're going to come out just fine. So the 6 of Cups, I think to keep this video a bit short, as it's already 20 minutes long, I'm sorry, if you'll allow me to reach into one of my books, I'm sorry. I don't think I'll take this one. Real tarot readers don't do this, but I'm gonna do it tonight. 6 of Cups. Enjoy life with ease, happiness, and well-being. Harmonious giving and receiving. Relationships and emotional states are enjoyable, creative, and sensual. That's what this says here. Hope that helps. So, again, this is in the hopes and fears position. So, I'm trying to see how that relates to a fear in some way. So maybe, I don't want to say that you'd be afraid of being, happy with where you are in life eventually. I think maybe you're just afraid of how you're going to get there. So, but also, obviously hope that, everybody wants to have a pleasurable life, don't they? So that's what I think what you're hoping for. So maybe one day I'm thinking, before I get to the last card, is obviously, like I said, I want to keep doing readings. So I might do another reading for you again sometime in the future. I'm going to keep learning, obviously. And a couple of my friends said that they would like to, like me to do a reading for them sometime soon. So that will give me more practice in my delivery. But before I go on to the next card, so what I might do also is, instead of doing another reading for you, is I might come back to this video sometimes, or I might lay out these same exact cards, and I might try to put anything that I have learned since between now and then maybe I'll be able to clear up something that I'm trying to say tonight. So, alright, so the last card is a possible outcome, and like I said, this is not set in stone, so you have complete control if it's a good card to aim for it, or if you see it as a negative card, to take steps towards making sure that's not going to happen that way. All right, so possible outcome. Ooh, very nice. This is the Princess of Cups. So this is another court card. You can see, so that's, let me see if I can point, that's her right there underneath the swan, and it's a little blurry, I'm sorry, but there's a swan. She's holding a shell with a sea turtle on it.